say hello to everyone and thank you. I'm really actually excited to be seen because people think I was sick. There were so many rumors. Um, People don't listen to the rumors. That's the biggest thing that's happening. And the rumors that are going around, and it's hurting families, it's hurting businesses. I keep saying it, but people don't listen. Just because you have the same last name doesn't mean they all have it in the whole household. I mean, if we do that, every single Parisi, Yellow, Orlando, and we all have the same last names except me. Thank you. First time I like my own name, but like the Kukros or whatever. I mean, it doesn't mean that if one person in that family, the whole entire family, have to have it. It's contact. It's really contact. And it's weird the way it's happening. Like I said today, there's a family, husband and wife. The husband has it. He's in the hospital. The mom wasn't feeling too good, but no, it was more about stress because, they're elderly and the daughter's taking care of the mom. And the mom's fine. Says, can I go out? Can we do things? Can I go visit? No, mom, you have to stay home. It's called quarantine. The daughter got sick. So, I mean, it's just weird how someone can get it and someone not. Depends on your immune system, who's a carrier, who's not. They're saying that young children can't get it, but we're hearing right now, we don't have anyone, but we're hearing, across the state of Massachusetts. Every day, we get a new update. We are on Monday through Sunday with updates and all these new things, Zoom, TikTok, WeChat, whatever chat they're on and everything else, and conference, and the old FaceTime is gone, I guess. But you don't know. You're picking, I have like one phone, two phones, the laptop, the iPad, everything else, and I'm going, okay, hello, yeah, whatever, put the, it's fine. A lot of them, when I'm at home, I shut the video off because I'm at home and I'm relaxing and there's no nothing.
Can we just take a second? And since we're on the rumor thing, are there any very specific rumors you want the city to dispel? Are there any specific things?
Yeah, the Causeway restaurant does not have the virus.
Excellent.
Okay. I get more emails on that one. No, it didn't start with one novena because I was praying and I have it. It's a disease. It's not. It's a virus. It's a virus that goes around like the flu went around. It doesn't pick, I'm going to go to that neighborhood first or that group or whatever. But because a lot of us didn't know about it in the beginning, and when you are with other people and didn't realize it, I'm sure that even though we are clean and we wash our hands, but we weren't on top of it, And there's a few people at, one household that they gathered, yes, because they were elderly and they, more receptive to it. And it's sad. But it doesn't mean that every single person who had a novena or was praying in church or whatever was happening. And it's difficult because right now, and this is how serious it is, we're losing people, our seniors, not for the virus, we're losing them because they're elderly and there's no funerals and there's no really, you can't really go to the wake. So,
I was going to ask about that. Just how is this community dealing with church services and the novena was so limited and all that important life? How do you think people are dealing with that?
I think they're missing it more than they thought. Those of us who used to go to church every Saturday, I still pray. I pray all the time. I have a little CD in my car and I'll post something on Facebook or my Father Jim will send a little video and they do it live or on YouTube or pray with this one but I think it's now is the more concerned is, okay, it's April. We thought that by 2 weeks we're going to go right back to our lives and we thought everything was going to be okay, but then now Passover's coming. There's Easter coming. And so it's difficult because people like to be together and, you have the Greek Easter right after that. And some people like to worship outside. Some people, it's a beautiful day. They want to go but you can't. Someone says, well, why can't I? It's just a group of us. We'll keep the distance. Okay, so if I one church, then I'm going to have to, the next thing you know what? We're all going to be together. It's hard. I'm hoping that people understand. It's not, the mayor's not letting us do it. It's not me. It's the whole state. We're in a state of emergency and we have to take this serious. People think that, I'm walking with my friend and we're fine. No, you're not. Because, your friend could have opened a door that you didn't even know that was contaminated. This isn't because you're dirty. This isn't because you're poor. This isn't because you're a multimillionaire. This virus is whoever. And a lot of us take for granted, we just open our car doors. not thinking that, you know what, someone could have opened it, touched it, or whatever. Someone could have leaned against your car while they were talking to you, or you know how we like to play with it. You just don't know anymore. So when I see friends, I says, you know, you really should be apart. Oh, but we're fine. We're best friends. We've been doing this, and our kids already are at the same house right now. And I'm going like, I didn't. You know, no, but they're social. I don't think so. I think they're all jumping on one couch together. But and it's hard because first of all, you're not used to being stay-home mom, because that was years ago when we all got to stay home, and then when we had to all go to work, we all went to work. It's kind of difficult now because the fact is, you know, we used to tell our kids, go outside and play. Get off the TV. Or when we were younger, they used to say, we go outside, you know, stop watching TV. Now it's saying stop playing with your phone, your iPad, or whatever you may do that, and tell them go outside. And now we're saying, no, you have to stay in and you have to play with those things. And so it's difficult. We're not saying you have to be quarantined in your house. Those of you who have a backyard, you're lucky. Go outside, enjoy it. Whether it's cold or not, enjoy it.
Well, Sefatia, I was going to ask, are you satisfied with the citizens' response to the stay-at-home advisory?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No. Hello?
I'm here.
Can you see me? Because I don't know what just happened.
Oh,
everything's good.
We're
I don't
here.
know what happened. Can you see? I can't see you.
You can't see us?
Oh, there you are.
Fine. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
So I just asked if you were satisfied with the citizens' response to the stay-at-home advisory.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I see people, you know, all gathering at markets. Now, I haven't been there yet. The little ones that I did go to, they were gathering, and I see people send me pictures all the time. I have more pictures of people doing what they're not supposed to be doing. And then they say, well, why can't you put tape around the benches at the playground? I don't have enough staff. We have a lot of playgrounds and a lot of benches. And I can't tape them and keep them up. You know what? Even though everyone else is supposed to stay home, my DPW is working. And we have operations, everyday operations that need to be tended to. And I don't have the staff. I mean, they're cleaning the schools, disinfecting the schools and buildings, and then redoing it and doing other things that need maintenance, stuff that we planned on, you know, work and, you know, the roads, the pipes. I mean, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. You know, if you go to Good Harbor Beach, you'll see some of the DPWs that put a fence around the plovers. They're coming. We still have to protect them.
Yay,
So,
plovers.
huh?
Yay, plovers. We've got something normal happening.
I'm hoping they all come now, get it over, whatever, and goodbye. You know, this way no one can bother them.
Yeah.
Huh?
This could
And
be
this
year
way,
of the clover.
you know, they're coming in and they might say, you know what, where is everyone today? But the fact is, you know, everyone has suggestions. Everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing. I'm getting a lot of what is essential. I mean, I post it all the time. What's essential, non-essential. Well, how can that be essential or that be when there's more than 10 people together? Well, if you're separated, then you're allowed to. It depends what kind of a job you're at and what kind of essential that they call it, especially food services. It's different. You know, they're, you know, you have to tell them that I want my husband home. Well, first of all, if anyone is at high risk and they think they're high risk or they have someone that, you know, is very sick at home, you have a right to say that, you know what, I don't think I can make it in for these 2 weeks. But the fact is it's not 2 weeks. Okay,
Mayor,
it's not 2 weeks.
The business.
It's now longer.
Yeah, right. Do you want to talk about the business community and the morale there, and maybe what sort of programming we can hope for to support them?
Well, the business community, the morale has been really good in the beginning. I don't know as far as tomorrow. Right now, what can I do to help somebody else out? You know, the ones who are trying to do the takeout, you got to give them credit. And people do take out. It's hard, you know. If you're not working, where are you going to get that money? So now it's difficult. Unemployment hasn't started yet. A lot of them donated all their food to the Open Door. I was there that weekend and we were donating food and anything else. And the ones that decided they're not going to do it. I was on a call with Seth Moulton this morning. The first subject that we did was disaster release for fishermen and fishing industry. And that was going to be over 300 million just for the fishing industry, not just for, you know, Massachusetts, it's also Alaska. And so how's that disaster release going to go, and how we're going to handle that? And is it going to be the same as before? And we said, now you have to really expand it a little because the shoreside facilities are not functioning as they were before. Some are closed. And they said, yes, it says, you know, for all fishing industry. So that's a good thing. And so We discussed how's that going to go. And then they discussed about how some people can't collect unemployment. You know, it depends. Some of them get a 1099. Some people work for themselves. It's called a subcontractor. They won't be able to collect unemployment. Well, they said if it passes, and this is good news, if it passes, it hasn't passed yet, that anyone that can't collect unemployment will be able to collect unemployment. What they're doing is they're saying if it passes, we still have to hope it passes, that whoever is on unemployment, they're going to also increase it by another $600.
Wow.
That's a lot. They want to make sure that everyone gets their salary.
Right.
And so I says, that's great. That will help. You know what? We will be able to do your takeouts. And when we're done with this, you know, people, the landlords will get, you know, their rent. And you know, it's a ripple effect. It's not just, I'm not working. It's how am I going to pay everything? You know, we put it for those who live in apartments, you can't get evicted. That's great. It doesn't mean you can't get it after. It doesn't mean you're not, you know, you don't have to owe those bills. Same thing. What are we doing for mortgages? And if you're foreclosing, they're not going to help you unless you're FHA, and it's really complicated. And well, we don't want them to foreclose. We'd like to help them before they do. And you know, and people today, some of the mayors was talking, saying, you know what, if we continue this, cities are going to need funding. Right. Because we're going to end up bankrupted because people won't pay their taxes, or what's going to happen there. So it's a ripple effect. And some of them put a freeze on hiring. They're already looking at laying off. Some of them say we're not leaving employees home. We're not looking this.
These are other mayors.
I'm talking about other mayors, yes. This morning we had a call. There was 100 mayors and town managers on the second call with Senator Warren and Senator Markey. They were both saying about this unemployment. The stipend that's supposed to be going out to people, that $1,200 per person in the household, adults, 24, I think, for married couples, and 500 each child. That should be coming within like a week. So people, yeah, that moved faster than all these other ones because they all have to vote on these ones. The one that for the unemployment, so let's say you can prove that you worked, you pay income taxes, but you never paid into the unemployment. You'll be able to get that stipend of $600. Not in the other one. The other one would be an additional, because we said to people, well, someone only getting $200. What's that going to mean? You know, I'd rather not and get the 600. No, they'll get their regular 200 plus the 600 on top of that. So that's good. And we're worried about you have to worry about your hospitals. You know what? I mean, everything's on stand. It's going, you know, they're financial, no more surgeries, no more, you know, unless it's emergency surgery, you're not having surgery, not elective surgery, you're not doing all these things. Yeah, you know, you're not allowed there. So what's going to happen to our, especially, I said, you know, my community-based hospital, Addison Hospital, I mean, you know, we're really, you know, with the times now. Anna Jakes, you know, I was talking to Don Hollanday in Newburyport, Anna Jakes, so what are we going to do? And they're looking for funding for that too. And how are we going to be able to keep them, not just for today, but, you know, succeed them and make sure that they stay. Exactly. So, I mean, every day there's a different meeting, every day there's different issues. Like, you know, some of the testing, you know, we're hoping for more testing here, and people say, Mayor, I need numbers every day. There is no numbers every day, because the fact is we still have to send the test out, and that still has to come back here. So it's hard. And I tell people, like everyone else is saying, it's no more about the numbers. It's about the people staying home. Because let me tell you something, not everyone's getting tested. This is how it goes. I'm having a headache, or I feel warm, or I don't feel good. What do I do? Well, you call your primary care, and he'll take everything. If he'll say, oh, this is a perfectly healthy, voluptuous, beautiful woman who's, you know, 57 and you're pretty healthy, and well, yeah, you have a headache because you're stressed, but what else you might have? Oh, well, then you don't need to take the test. You really don't. So they'll say, you know what, if you start having difficulty breathing, then you have to come back, and then we'll get you the test. And we'll take it.
Even Seth Moulton didn't get the test, right?
No, absolutely. You know what? Can I tell you something? The way I'm looking at it, and the way I'm talking to people, and the way it came, I'm looking at my daughter who lives in Naples, Florida. One time when she was talking, she was, I'm not feeling good. I've never felt this way. You know what? She probably had it and didn't even know it, and it passed. You know, I'm sure, because not everyone's going to get the full virus. You're not going to get, oh, the headache and, you know, where you're lethargic, or you're tired, or you can't concentrate, or you can't breathe, or, you know, the fevers. Some I've talked to, they just said this pounding headache, and that was it. But no one else in the family had nothing except that one person. Then right after, and she self-quarantined, and then almost on the 14th day, her husband says, I feel a little warm. Didn't even last, took the Tylenol, and the kids were fine. You know, she had 3 kids and everyone was fine. So you doesn't mean that, you know, we could have had her already. I mean, you know,
Right.
but you just don't know. A tickle in your throat, or you know, got that dry cough. You could, you know, allergies. You know what? I'll tell you, about a month ago, I was saying, I got a headache with these allergies. And I took my Tylenol sinus. So there you go. You know, it could have been the virus. Who knows? We just don't know. And they're not going to test you for that. So I know a lot of people are really worried that, oh, everyone's outside and they're doing all these things. They want you outside. First of all, mentally, and that's what we're working on the next phase, mentally being home 24/7 for 2 months is not good for our soul or our mind.
Right.
I don't care what anyone says. It's just difficult, and especially those who are out there listening. When you feel alone, and if you feel like you just can't, you really need to reach out. Please reach out. We're going to start a little hotline around here, but you know, the 311. Please reach out. No one should feel alone. No one should feel that way, and it's difficult because, like we discussed, I says, you know, people are functional addicts, and some of them worked. They worked. They know you would never even known. They would bring their kids to school, go to work, come home, pick up their child, eat, go to bed, the whole thing. Now, yeah, my concern is what's going to happen in between now? What are we doing? You know, and people have to understand when everyone else was shutting down their schools. I waited because I want to make sure that everything wasn't planned. We were meeting way before. Our Board of Health department and our Board of Health is amazing. Karen Carroll, who is the director, actually was working on this in January. And then, you know, we started talking about it, what's going on, and observing. And then when it got close to the last 3 weeks, I mean, I'm telling you, we have a social networking anyways. If it's too cold out, or if we have a snowstorm, you know, Action, Open Door, Health Project, Interfaith Commission, we all work on this. Who's going to do what? Senior care, senior center, Meals on Wheels. We all got to figure out the same thing. We do the same exact thing in the summer. If we have it's going to be too hot, or the power's going to go. How do we do that? So we have this networking. A lot of communities don't. They're starting them now, and I'm going like, I've been doing it since I've been mayor. Yeah. Only maybe because in the healthcare fields, that's who I was. I was the liaison, so I already had them. So I never stopped meeting them, and now that I'm their mayor, we all still connect. I'm kind of spoiled, I think, in the city of Gloucester because not one has ever said, oh, I can't make it. This is good. So we add the Grace said to anyone new, we add them, and the why and what can we do and how do we do this. I have to say that we've been preparing. So when really got serious, I looked around and I says, oh crap, we have a hospital, 2 nursing homes right back to back, because that's what's your most vulnerable, is your elderly. If you count Rockport, because we're on this side of the bridge, it's within 5 miles. I'm going, that's basically like 3 nursing homes within a 5-mile radius. And I'm going like, oh, that's kind of scary. So, okay, so now we need to get them in first. That was my first priority, is if they have to self-quarantine, if they have to do that, what do they do? And they came, and it was so funny. They're all sitting there looking. I'm going like, and the school was all the time. The school was with us, and so we said to them, "Now, see you. I know you're short-staffed. I know you're this. I know you're that." And they're looking at me like, "Okay, how does she know these things?" Yes. And so I says, "Well, you know what? If you're short-staffed, how are you going to keep it clean? Because you got to answer to the patients. And my biggest concern is if you see a patient when you go in there and they're just sitting there." Are you going to go look to see if they are, how can you say, are you tired? How can you say, does your throat hurt? You're going to have to take temperatures, you know, and is it normal? Check, is it, you know, the normal things, you know, are they eating? I mean, it's very difficult, and they have it all under control. And even Denmark came, so that was great. And it was like, you know, we'll do it. And if it happens, what do we have there? And if you need to bring food, if it gets stuck, whatever, you just don't know. And that was great. The hospital came too. So I'm going, okay, that's like kind of relief, because I can work on the next one.
How is the staffing in these places?
It's a lot better now.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel?
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how many people actually stepped up and say, well, I have this job and I'll help there or whatever. Some of the family members that were already qualified, but they're doing okay. They're doing okay. And then we had to take that measure that, you know what, don't let anyone in. You know, I had to do that. You don't let anyone in. You know what? You're not going to be able to, because if your staff gets sick, then there's nothing. And so, no, and people, well, I can't see, it breaks my heart. When they say, you know what, my mom's really ill and they said that she's passing, what do I do? I don't know, and I'm not going to say, well, I'm sure they'll make arrangements. I know that each family is working with them. And I know a couple of, I breaks my heart too, because I understand I lost a lot of good friends this week, elderly, and I FaceTimed with some of them that I could. And yeah, and what really hurt is that they wanted their last rites, and you can't. And so I called Father Jim. You're gonna have to FaceTime with them, please. Do something. You know, they have, hospice has chaplains, but they're all out. They're going everywhere. I called some other friends, you know, and it's scary, you know. People think, well, an elderly's dying. It's the virus. It's not, you know, it's either dialysis or old age or whatever might be happening, that, you know, you forgot that this person is old and it was passing. And so people get just scared, and it's understandable, but it's hard when you love someone and they call to you and say, can I have a funeral? You can't. And when I was FaceTiming one woman, and she says, will you let me have a funeral? And I says, I don't think they're going to do funerals, but in her eyes, oh, I still see her eyes going like, how can you not? I mean, you know, I need to. So I said to her, we'll do the best we can. And, but you know, I've got something better. So I did call Father Jim, and I called the daughter and says, you know, he's going to FaceTime you guys. So he'll do that way. You know, it's better than nothing. And it's hard because not everyone has FaceTime or have that person in their life they can do that. And it's difficult. And I know it's difficult for the workers in these nursing homes, in the hospitals. When you tell someone, you know, they don't speak English, and but we'll get the translator, but you can't see them. And, you know, you hear, well, your mom might be on life support, and please, you know, I get very emotional with them because you just want to say that last goodbye. You want to hug. I don't think everyone realizes how much we have contact with one another, how much a hug means to us. And that kills. Not because I'm Italian, because I'm a huggable, love hugging them, but especially when you want to say your goodbyes. That one holding someone's hand and comforting them, and just, you know what? I'm sorry, but I don't care if I get the virus. I just want to say goodbye to my mom. So I understand what they're saying. It's so hard, but I understand what the hospital or the nursing homes are saying is, I can't have you jeopardize the rest of us. Right. And so it's understandable, and it's difficult, and it's getting more difficult. I says, you know what, I'm reading today how many people passed, you know, Gracie 92, Nefer, Danny, and I'm looking at all of them, and I'm going, you know what we're going to be doing all summer long is be going to, you know, celebrations of life. Right. And by that time, I'm hoping we're all going to be hugging and loving, and you know what, it's just going to be difficult summer. I know it is. I'm wanting this summer, I want this to pass, but it's going to be very, very difficult. We are a community that is seasonal. And so, you know, by the time we finally go back to work and make up, and hopefully that if they really do give this stimulus package out and they really do what they're supposed to be doing, then the employees will be okay, and the people like ourselves will be okay, that we can show our support to these businesses and stay local. You really have to stay local, because by the time their season's over, basically. So you have to figure, even we say April, May, and they start to get back and whatever, let's say we start getting back like Memorial Day, let's just say. By the time they set up and everything else and they start, now you have to convince people, the tourists, you know, you have to convince them, our town's better than the other town. We're cleaner, we're whatever, you know, please come. You have some people are going to be afraid or financially not going to be able to either. And so by the time you can work all of that out, we're talking about August, you know, and then September, October, we're done. And so this season basically is over. And they said, well, don't worry, they'll make it up, and they can. No, they can't. And not if you understand what the whole thing of it. They're still paying their mortgages, their insurances, you know, their workman's comp insurance. Because you don't know when you're going to hire. You have to pay all these things. And the packages they get is not anything free. It's a small business loan. So I asked both of them today, Seth Moulton and Elizabeth Warren, and them, that, you know what, I know it's a business loan, but a lot of them have been saying, can you do like before we used to do low interest, very low interest, or no interest? Because right now it's 3.75. And someone said, well, that's great. I wish I had that for my mortgage. But you know what? When you have nothing, it's no. It's difficult. They rather you either give them a 1% or no, and then the second year go up to the 3.75. That's fine, but just give them that chance to catch up. They did say for small businesses, there is going to be a first time, I'm not going to say the amount because I'm going to let Sal, my economic developer, who's actually on the SBA call, talk about that $10,000 stipend, that, forgiveness. And so we'll put that package together for the small businesses. So, we're working on all of that. We're working on the tours, we're working on everything else. But, to my community, you know what? I don't want you to be locked in the house. But you know what? When you go out, don't sit on a bench, because I'm not cleaning them. Someone asked me why the Jiffy Johns are gone. I said, well, no toilet paper. You want to joke around. Oh, we couldn't find toilet paper either. But, we can't keep up with that. There are things you don't, what? And, if your kid wants to go on a swing, I don't know how many children have been touching the metal. The metal is the worst thing. It stays longer. They're saying that anything that's metal, including coins, you very careful. It's staying longer than it would on your hands. So we have metal with all benches down the boulevard. And you know what? Don't sit on them if you're tired. Right. Sit on the grass if you have to. But you know what? Don't sit on the bench. And it's not okay. I know that now because I need help walking up, but I have things with the railing. I felt like Michael Jackson. I have the one glove. I'm pulling myself up. I mean, it's scary. But if you're really cautious, you can go take a walk. Nobody wants you to stay, the dogs need to be walked. You need to be walked. The kids need to be out there. There are areas that you can go. And I tell people, you know what, kids will interact and you just got to tell them a different way to play. It's called being creative. I remember when the backyard growers, we would plant, and so stop planting, but then they would play games with them, and they separated them anyways, because how kids like to touch and pull the hair and whatever. So they had them all separated, which is a good distance, and they played games and ran around. And we have to be, as parents and grandparents, creative. If you're going to go outside, be creative. There's so many things you can do that you don't have to, be on top of one another. You don't have to really touch tag.
Speaking of creative, how about cooking? What are you
cooking? I've been cooking all the time. Actually, I delivered some meals. My sister delivered all week with the open door. She's been working all the time with them. Yesterday was 15 meals. And I said, well, if you're going out, and I think that's why people thought I was sick, because she was on the phone with me. And she goes, I can't find them. What do you want? What kind of chips? I said, I want the corn chips, but they're gluten-free and no GMO and all of that. And she's going like, all right. I said, just go to Common Crow. Yeah. And so she went there, and Kate was laughing, and I'm sure people must have said, oh my, she's shopping for the mayor. No, it's just that if she's out and I'm doing conference calls, stop by, throw it in the doorway, and I'm fine. The fact is, I'm cooking all the time. I'm not posting. I feel that it's kind of difficult if there are people in self-quarantine and we're giving them the minimal or we're sending them packages. I feel unless I can deliver them to them, I don't want to post anything. I'm saving all the pictures though. I'm going to make like a collage after. I am cooking. I am cooking all the time. Today, before I came to work, one of the city councilors is going to be in for a week. He's like, we grew up together with Barry Pett. And I said, Barry, hurry up, because my sister lives across the street. She sees me. She's going to say, oh, you went to Barry's house and not mine? So, yeah.
So I have to tell you that my mom delivered St. Joseph's rolls with the car still moving, and we're buying food right out the window. Yeah.
So my last question is, what are we going to do about our hair? And I see your nails. Well, your hair looks great, but your nails look beautiful, right?
Well, you know what? I have my nails done. I always have red, and I did blue by Christina. My daughter's a hairdresser, and my sister owns a salon. What am I going to do about my hair? When I see some grays, I push the hair this way and I push it that way. I'm putting a ponytail like I always do, barrettes. You know what? It's like a lot of us, the right thing. As soon as the kids are in school, I guarantee you those salons are going to be booked.
Backed up.
I've got to be booked. I'm telling people, well, let's see. If they said May, April, I booked mine already for April. I said, just in case, I can always keep doing it because I want to make sure.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that, but it's hard because my daughter is home and I don't know where I've been, and I don't know. I could be a carrier. I just don't want to go in there and have her,
Right.
expose anyone, especially her, because then I'll really be gray. But so you know what? I'm going to be gray, and I'm going to CVS after here and quickly buy before they bite. That spray.
Oh yeah.
And I hope my daughter can order me some because that spray really covers a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny today. I was mentioning the Windex, and my friend who works at one of the places, Loft, they says, I guarantee you that they're all going to come and buy Windex because you opened your mouth. I went, oh, I just said that I was watching My Fat Greek Wedding, and if you chop up a whole bunch of paper towels and just soak them with Windex, when you go out for your walk, wipe it down. I tell people, you know what? We have glasses. Now, I leave them around all the time, and this has already been disinfected. But how many times you leave them on a pocketbook, right? And I'm putting this on. Now, you touched your carriage.
Right.
Even though you cleaned your carriage. Now, remember, you cleaned your carriage. You think you're all safe and everything else. You go in your pocketbook. There's germs everywhere else. I mean, do we wipe down our pocketbook? Take out, already, I'm putting this in my hair, and then I'm giving whatever. I tell people, wipe them down before you put them on. And then when you use your debit card in that machine, make sure when you pull it out, wipe it and then put it away because everyone else is doing the same exact thing. And I tell them, you know what? Your kids' pencils, the eraser pot or whatever, go like this when you press your numbers in. If you have to push your numbers in, wipe it off, put it away. Because the fact is, we've all touched that button.
Right. Oh, those buttons. Yeah.
We've all touched them. We've all put our, do you have your debit card or credit? We've all, yes, go, whatever is the amount right. We've all touched them.
Right.
So pencils or pen or whatever, just go like that and then wipe it off.
Great point. Great point.
Yes.
So keep the paper towel with
Windex
with you.
Windex has pneumonia. That guy was right. My husband's a Windex freak anyways, but Windex, just everything. It really does. It has pneumonia. So I'm not saying, wash your hands with it, but wash everything else with. So while you have, your hands protected, but I don't think of our reading glasses. How many of us, I have they're thrown everywhere. Right. You don't think you just put them on because quick. I have like a dozen here, but I wiped them all down. So I tell everyone of Gloucester, I'm going to do some updates. Do we have cases here? Absolutely. Right now, I think they were saying that could be 12 positive, but more could be coming in today. But I want you to look at it as Gloucester has the virus. Okay, no ifs and buts about it. Gloucester has the virus. Numbers are increasing. And a lot of people are self-quarantining and will never get a full range of numbers. So people want to know every day, what are the numbers? What are the numbers? It's not the numbers anymore, people.
Right.
We have it. It's here. You need to be cautious. You need to protect yourselves. The governor is going to have a press conference again today. Yesterday, I was shocked, just like everyone else, that he extended that. I was like, okay, that scares me a little. Why? And so that's, we have a representative, Ann Margaret Ferranti, who's all over us with Facebook, and Senator Tarr. So we're lucky. We're kind of spoiled in Gloucester because we've got all these connections of everything. And I was kind of scared too. And I'm then going like, I said, so did you know that he was going to do that, Bruce? I didn't. You didn't tell me last night he was.
Well, Sefatia, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you're underwater with everything that's going on, but if you
underwater, I'm really underwater.
Oh, yeah. But I would love to continue the conversation when you have time here and there. Just in case you need us to help relay anything to you, and just
what, that's great. I know you had you had Karen Carroll, Dr. Sapphire, what's happening. We had a school committee meeting last night, and really get the information out to parents. Some parents said, I didn't get the email. It's very difficult. They said, I know we're getting the Crohn's book, but I'm in a dead spot, or I can't afford a Wi-Fi. Comcast is offering, $9.99 or other options. And we're saying, well, how are they going to get the message if they don't have the Wi-Fi and they don't have the email? So are we calling them? And some of them have the SafeLink phones. Okay, people, not everyone has an iPhone. Okay, right. Don't forget to clean off your phones too.
Right. True. Right.
But the fact is, not everyone has an iPhone or a regular phone or any of those phones. So they have the SafeLink phone. So that brought attention to me that when we just throw our phones and don't want them, we should actually see what we can do on that one. That's a whole nother. But I made a suggestion that maybe we can get hotspots. Maybe the city can pick up the tab with the school and get some hotspots. And both ITs, Grant from the school side, James Pope from the city side, and you guys are lucky. What an IT guy. I'm telling you right now, it's just all of this. He's doing great. He's doing great. So I think now, Karen Carroll, IT, Jim Destino's back. But I think they'll probably say to me, after this is all done, see you later, we're going away for a month because this is exhausting. Just so everyone knows, Jim Destino is my CAO. I was talking to him, and until this crisis is over, he was supposed to leave on April 3rd. So, you know, he said no votes. He can't go anywhere, so I don't think it's just going down. So he's going to stay. Actually, I think he said budget review because budget comes on. So he's going to stay until the crisis is over, and most of the people will be staying. And you know, we are rotating shifts, so we don't want to keep everyone in one building. Even the DPW, they have the car. You know, you're going to have the same truck, clean it. And I tell everyone before you open the door, actually wipe it off or have your glove in the car, you know, because you might have forgotten yesterday. Always remember, try to wipe down your steering wheel if you can. Just be cautious. Yes, Gloucester has the virus. Gloucester isn't, you know, uncontrollable right now. Our hospitals aren't max full that we're going crazy, but we did say, where can we go if that happens and where can we extend to? We're very fortunate that we did merge with back then Addison with Beverly and Leahy, so we're lucky as far as that. And we're pretty good with that. And looking.
Excuse me, is there a plan for overflow?
They have a plan. Yes, they have a plan. You know, like I said, I offered O'Malley. I offered a lot of things. And right now, we're working closely too with the YMCA about their gym, what we can do, because we're looking at people who are worried about our homeless people. I met with them too first. You know, we met with Peggy and we met with Open Door. And I really have to say something about everything we do when we talk to and we sit there, everything that we do, it's like, all right, there's open door, there's open door, there's open door. If we can't do the Meals on Wheels, Julie, I got it. Okay, the Grace, I got it. Action Shell, got it. Before we, got it. Her staff, I mean, it's just amazing. And they already knew that because we had that prior talk, they had a whole truck of food come in, but you'd be surprised how many people are self-quarantined. How many people are using it. So you know what, and right now, like we said, that they have that fund that you could do. You can go online and donate to the Open Door. Peggy and Jen from the Action. Jen runs the shelter, Peggy is the director. It's just been amazing. I mean, they also have the same thing. They're working by virtual Zoom. So, but it's hands-on when we all have to talk about what we needed to before. So we had schools and what are we going to do about the meals. Okay. And Julie, right away, I said, well, don't worry, because Julie and I already discussed it. I told Dr. Sapphire, we'll do it like we did the summer program, you know, the bags. We don't want no kids, because my biggest fear is, you know, some of these children in the schools will tell me, the teachers who've been such a great help would say, you know, some of these kids, when they go away on vacation or weekends, we actually supplement a lot. And I went, okay, so what are we going to do that? And Dr. Sapphire stepped right up with Martha, at the school side to figure out what's going to happen. And they did the breakfast and the lunch. And now, instead of, you know, what are we going to do? People can't drive. They actually have it transported to certain places, which is great. So we're lucky, because when I talked to some of the mayors and I said, I already shut down half of this stuff. What do you mean 25 people? I've been doing that now for 10 days. What are you talking about? They said, how did you do it? I said, shut down. He said, when they listened, I said, yeah. I said, I called the churches who were doing things. I called, you know, the chamber, you can't do, you know, the Irish sweepstakes. I called a lot of people and, you know, told them about weddings, how you can do the weddings you have and what I'm going to allow. And that's it. And and Karen, we were on Good Morning Gloucester. We said to people, well, this is what you need to do. If you have small tables, you're going to have to make space, sit like this. I got ridiculed because I want to show, you know, if it's like this, then it's safe. And someone was like, oh, so bent out of shape. I can't. Well, you know what, people were trying to say, you know what, you still can go out. And then when we said, no, you can't, we had to shut everyone down. They were very cooperative, you know, the state shut down. But when I was talking to the mayors, I says, we did that like 10 days ago. We're already ready. You know, they already know that was coming. We already done that. And my last thing to shut down was the schools. I'm going to be honest with you. You know why? Because I felt that the kids were safer. because, the elementary with the elementary, the high school with the high school, they weren't interacting. They weren't running around, and, they were there. And so they were picked up on a clean bus. They were being taught personal hygiene, extra happy birthday to you, wipe your hands twice, the whole thing. They were all helping out. They all got a little thing to show how you can do it in your house with your toys. And the older kids knew, and the older kids were actually helping out. So it wasn't that we weren't ready or we weren't going to close. It was we were preparing the kids of what's going to happen. And I knew until I could put everything else in place, all as a whole, and to make sure people were going to be able to go to the shelter, be able to stay at the Grace Center, be able to get food. My seniors, if we close that, because I didn't close that right away either, to make sure that mentally the seniors who go there, I mean, some of them, that's their only physical being that they see with people. So, you have to think about that. It's not just, okay, shut down. It's mentally what do they do, and who's going to make sure they get food, and how they're going to get food. And if something happens to our volunteers on Meals at Wales, because it did go down, who's going to deliver them, how they're going to do it. And again, Julie steps up, we'll help, we'll do this, we'll do that. But I had to make sure everything was in place. And I was getting, the whole city, not just me, my staff, why isn't she closing down? Why aren't you closing down? She don't understand, and da-da-da-da. Well, that's because they're Italian. I don't know. Oh, they're all coming from Italy, and they all have the virus. They don't go, oh, please. Yeah, okay. First of all, we don't travel this time of year anyway. So we don't go until the summer. We're safe. But anyways, I said, well, okay, so other communities are shut. And when they pointed one that was shut, and I said, okay, he shut his school, but he didn't shut the casino. What good is that? Okay, I have to shut the school. The kids are safe right now. I want to make sure everyone's going to be safe. I want to make sure that if something happens, and you know what, guess what? Someone make sure that, and I'm going to be honest, your methadone clinic's always going to run. This one's going to run. If this one has to go through AA, the withdrawals, or this or that, we made sure that we thought of every possible disaster and things that can happen that we know that we could go for, and then we can continue. And that's why I said, well, please trust us. It's not just me. It's me, Julie, Karen Carroll, Dr. Sapphire, Peggy, all of us that get together all the time, the Grace Center, to figure out how we're going to help every single person. Even though we thought of everything, there was one thing that, what we couldn't find, and we kept saying is, if we have someone, so someone, is an addict, we know that we still have them, and they have to be quarantined. Where do you put them? Because they're going through withdrawal. So you're going to put someone in a home or anywhere for 14 days. And that 14 days, that person's going to deal with the virus, and that person's going to deal with withdrawal. And whoever's going to be stuck with them are going to have to deal with that. And that's, if you've never saw it, it's horrific. So how do we deal with that? Do we have a rehab that's quarantined? No one was thinking about it. No one was talking about it. I'm going like, are you for real? And so, we got that. Then I said, okay, so now some of these places who have the meetings, the NA meetings, AA meetings, they have to. You don't want someone to, because they can't talk to someone about it, or they might be new and I need someone to talk about it. What do we do? And I was letting those meetings go through. But there's always people always fear, well, they're there, there's more than 25. And, some of them I knew, I allowed still the 25 because they needed, they were more crucial. And people were worried about, oh, they're going from the Grace Center to the shelter. Can I tell you that most of the people who have no homes that are in the Grace Center go to the shelter? There's no more library. There's no more senior center. They're more afraid of us than we are of them because, because we know that a lot of them are looking at them like, oh, you're going to bring it to us. And the nastiness comes. I says, if that happens, we'll just, put them in the YMCA offer their bus, or we have buses. We'll just put them, we'll drive them ourselves. Action said, on weekends, because there's no more open door, because open door is all filled with food. So on Sundays, what do? She says, we'll leave our doors open. This is the kind of community, we think of everything. And we want to make sure that everyone has a right, whether you were just born or you're going to die tomorrow, or you're poor, or you're rich, or you have no home, or you live in a mansion, everyone's treated the same. And I just want everyone to know that we are all humans first. And so we had to check that out. My next step that I've been working with is some volunteer. I want to thank Barbara Oliver and Nikki Rashawn. And Jamie Marshall, because I want to do it through the city, but I found out I'm not allowed to. I'd like to do everything through the city, is to get our own little 1-800 number that you can actually Zoom in and talk to a therapist. because if you don't, and my biggest concern is, okay, what about the psychiatrist? Some medications you can't do virtual. You have to pick it up. And if you don't have it in your hand, how are you going to get that? And that's one of the things that we're working on too. We did a lot of them. We prepared and told them to get 3 months supply. How can some medications you really can't? You have to have it every month, and you have to talk to a psychiatrist to get that. So how are we doing all that? And we're still notice that even though we have that, you're still missing someone to talk to say, you know what, I am alone. I don't feel well, and I need someone to talk to. So we have a lot of volunteers, believe it or not, therapists that are going beyond their own schedule to watch this line. So we'll be working on that soon. James is going to help me, Marshall, because he understands about the funding and where we go through that, because it can't go through the city. How to get Zoom HIPAA so people can actually feel confident when they're talking. And we still have Tito and Jeremiah, who's still working with people on that one too. So that's our next step, because, you know, it's going to be hard for the next until the end of April.
That's going to be a really important element. Yeah.
Yes, that's our last health piece that we're trying to, you know, put together. We thought about it, but I think we thought about it in short term, and now it's a little bit longer. So that's the only little gap, but we'll get it. We've got people already ready to go. So, and they're willing to talk to people. So
I think we are so lucky to have this city's leadership. You guys are really
thank you. I have a team. Yes. And my team is just not in my administration. Our team is Gloucester. So we're very lucky that, you know, you do have Peggy at Action, Julie, you know, Tim at the YMCA, Jen from the, you know, the shelter, Scott Trenty from senior care. And, you know, you have to, you know, Paula Curley, who does the Meals on Wheels, and all of them, and the interfaith community, all of them. I love this community. I'm spoiled. I grew up on Middle Street, and I don't know about anyone else, but I had St. John's, the UU, the Temple, Trinity. I was Catholic. I had it all. Then on the same street, you had, you know, the YMCA and the library. So when people used to call us inner city kids, and they used to feel sorry for us, we look and go like, oh, but we have everything. And the beach right there was pavilion. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that we were the richest kids in the block. So it's pretty good. And I still feel that I'm the richest mayor in Massachusetts, because I've got a team that is just amazing.
Yeah.
Well, stay safe, Sefatia, and be well, you know.
Thank you. Back to work. I have another TikTok, whatever that is, at 1:15. See you later.
Yeah.
Please, everyone, be safe.
Same to you.
Happy birthday to you twice.
This too, the elbow.
Yeah, I joke around with the Italians, because when we first started doing the elbow and someone was going like that, they, what do you do? No, that's how we do it in America. Calm down. I'm not saying anything. That's the other way, not that way. Not to everyone. I can't hug you, but kisses to everyone. Bye. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.